Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. And I have to say congratulations on your 40th anniversary. And I got to say also, sorry, I couldn't make it to the big party that you guys had as we speak. It was about a couple of days ago. How was it for you guys?
It was incredible. It was packed. We had almost 500 people. We had people from our history going back 40 years, and a lot of people from the current day, I guess you'd call it as well, musicians, industry people, media, past employees, friends. It was just a really incredible mixture of people.
Well, again, my apologies not being able to make it, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to at least get a chance to talk to you about the 40 years. How did this all start for you guys? And because 40 years, a lot has happened in 40 years when it comes to publications and just even the way things are done and the kind of music that was out there.
For sure. I was a musician originally. I studied music at University in Toronto, played in a rock and roll band for 7 years. So learned a lot about the business. We traveled all over North America, put out a number of singles, a couple of albums. And then after a few other career shifts, I worked for a couple of other magazines in the late 70s. Started Canadian Musician in 1979. And then, our company has grown since then. We do a lot of other things now as well. And as you say, things have changed, but certainly nothing's really been replaced. There's just a lot of different ways of doing things now, and we try and take advantage of all of the ones that we can.
When you decided to start this in 1979, were Canadian musicians getting their fair shake, do you think? When I say that, because of course, you had Billboard and so many other publications that were out there. Was this a way to highlight Canadian artists?
It was that for sure, but more than that, it was to help them with their career and to give them information on technology and business and what was going on, and also just to try and connect them. It's easier to get connected nowadays. In those days, it wasn't. So if you were a musician out in the prairies, let's say, you had no way really of knowing what was going on anywhere else in the country and around the world. So that was part of our mandate as well, that if somebody was reading the magazine, and it still is, that it would give them that kind of information so they could get connected. And there was also a real lack of information then. There was very few books available. Virtually in the States, there was one other magazine for musicians, which is Guitar Player, which is still around.
Yes.
There was nothing else. Of course, the Internet was a long 16 years away. And so that the information, the how-to, the connection just didn't exist at all. So that was really why we did it, and it certainly worked really well.
How do I put this? Technically, how do you think things have changed over the years? And I mean music when it comes to instruments and technology and things like that. And also, who were some of the, big celebs that you actually had a chance to speak with, too, that have gone through the pages of your of the magazine?
Boy, that list is pretty long, I'll tell you. The first cover was Burton Cummings. That year we had Rush on the cover. We had actually Oscar Peterson, who's not with us anymore. I'm trying to think who else. Dominic Torano is not with us anymore, unfortunately. But we've had pretty well every major artist imaginable in the 40 years. Recently we had Marianas Trench, and they're coming up again in our next issue. And they've got so much traction that even before our issue is out, people are buying copies of it. Rush was always that way. So there's, but we've had so many different artists in different genres be in the magazine. We also have columns in the magazine, so we've had a lot of very prominent musicians write for us over the 40 years as well. We also have a section called Showcase, which focuses on up-and-coming unknown artists. And some of the unknown artists that were there in the past were Sarah McLachlan, Our Lady Peace, I Mother Earth. So we've had, when we look back, we didn't even remember it, but we've had people in there that were totally unknown at the time that went on to do like unbelievable things. And we still do that every issue and online. We have an up-and-coming artists that don't have a record deal. And it's just a way to get them out there, and people in the industry look at that. We've had A&R people actually sign people because they discovered them in the Showcase issue of our magazine or online.
And you just kind of answered that question, because when we talked about 1979, of course, you had to go to your local bookstore or magazine shop to get your publication. Now online, are you connecting more people because of online and social media?
For sure, no doubt about it. The magazine is still available on newsstands and in music stores and Shoppers Drug Mart and all these kinds of places, as it always has been. But again, people can subscribe, and we have a lot of subscribers. It's available in a digital edition. We also have a podcast that we do every week. We have webinars that we do, and we have an electronic newsletter that comes out every month. So we communicate with our audience, I guess you could say. We're also involved in a lot of live events. We're exhibiting at Canadian Music Week next week, so we'll get to meet a lot of our audience there. We sponsor Breakout West, East Coast Music Conference, which is this week. So we sponsor just about every conference that has to do with the business or musicians in Canada. And it's even distributed at things like the NAMM show in Anaheim. We've been distributing copies there for almost the whole 40 years. So we have, a lot of ways to get our messages out to people, both online and offline.
I got to ask you, though, did you ever think when you started this that it would grow to what it is, everything you just told me right now?
Some of that. I mean, we've always been an early adapter, so some of the things that have happened, we were using email in 1982. The issue was there was nobody to email. And then, we actually had our first websites up in 1995, so a long time ago. But, in those days, a lot of that stuff wasn't embraced, but we could kind of see it coming and see what was going to happen. And we took kind of a moderate approach for a while in the 90s. Everything was, God, the Internet's here and it's going to be so amazing and it's going to replace everything else. Well, none of that's true. And then in 2000, there was the big, huge Internet crash. And then everybody's saying, well, the Internet's just a piece of garbage and it doesn't work. And just none of that was true. I mean, it's increased steadily and become bigger and bigger and bigger. And with the advent of mobile technology married with the Internet, it's just incredible. It just makes information and opportunities available all over the world. And to, even in Africa, people in the middle of Africa can get Internet content on their cell phones. So it's just that part of it's changed so much. But the key for information providers and marketers is to use these different methods and make them work together. And that's where I see the failure. A lot of, especially marketers, just don't make these things work well to be using traditional media and the Internet and social media and mobile and live events and, make all these things work to your benefit. And musicians as well. A lot of the bands don't use all of these different media the way they should either. So it's hard. I mean, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money, but that's when it works the best. It's like with CMW, for instance, we're there in person, but we'll be promoting that email, social media, all kinds of different ways over the next while to get people to our booth. We run a home recording contest there where we give away $1,000 in home recording gear. So, just try and doing these things in a lot of different ways, and then it really works.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Look, before we go, where do you want to see your company in the next 4 decades?
Oh, God. That's a hard one. I think, it'll just be more of the same and doing it better. We try and really do quality information, and, we treat online the same as the magazine. So everything is edited, everything is the same care, where a lot of online stuff isn't, unfortunately. It's slapped up there with a lot of spelling mistakes and issues and problems and bad information. So we're going to continue to work on that and try and do what we preach and make all of our channels work together better. Certainly be out at more live events, and we do live events of our own as well, and I want to certainly do way more of that. And just, I guess, serve our markets way better, the musicians and the industry.
Fantastic. For folks who want to get the publication, more information, everything else, where do we go social media-wise to follow along?
Well, actually, the easiest thing is we have a website we set up. It's just cm40th.com, and that has links to everything. So we've set that up. We're going to celebrate the anniversary the rest of the year. So if people go there, that'll tell them everything. It'll give all our social media, our websites, the events that we're going to be doing. We do a lot of contests. We're going to actually be doing a photo contest in the next few weeks, photos from the last 40 years. So if they just go to cm40th.com, that should take care of all of it.
Fantastic. My friend, congratulations on 40 years, looking for another 4 decades to see what you guys are going to be doing. And just thank you for what you guys have done for the Canadian music fabric.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.